What is up, bros? Me, Josh here, and in today's video, I'm going to go over the new premium ship coming to World of Warships, the Tier 6 Japanese battleship, the Mutsu. Now, you may look at this ship and say, hey, I've seen that ship before. Well, you basically kind of have if you've played Japanese battleships so far, and you've seen it in the Nagato. Now, the Nagato is the B hull, but if you've ever played the Nagato, you most likely started at the A hull, and you can't change it to graphically change, but it's basically the same ship as the Nagato A hull, almost identical stat-wise. There's some changes here and there, but it's honestly the A hull for the Nagato. It's very, very, very similar. But it's a tier 6 until a tier 7, which is good and which is bad. Right now, tier 6, in my opinion, tier 5 and tier 6 are getting picked on a lot with matchmaking. A lot of bottom tier games. We played 4 or 5 games with the Mutsu the other day, and I think every game but one we were bottom tier, and then the one we weren't bottom tier, it was a random, every ship was a tier 6, so it was kind of interesting to see. But as a tier 6 battleship, it's a good tier for battleship. There's a lot of really good battleships. I don't think there's really a bad battleship at that tier. You know, you can kind of talk about some other tiers having weak ones, but tier 6 is a really healthy battleship tier with how many cruisers there are, relatively fragile cruisers, and this thing having the guns it has, it absolutely punishes everything though, which is really, really nice. But let's dive into kind of the stats really quick. For hit points, 58,400. That just puts it right above the Fuso of 57,000. So it makes it very competitive at tier 6 with the health pool wise. Both of the ships though, and mainly the Mutsu, not very armored, but you are going to be playing more of a sniper class. Now, if let's say you go against close range of a Arizona or something, or New Mexico with a bit more armor, they are going to absolutely be a better brawler than you, although you have a trick up your sleeve that will make them pay. But you're going to spend most of your time not really close range. You have slow turrets, you have a good range. I mean, there's no real reason to kind of push in if you don't really need to. You're a fragile battleship. Wargaming has called this a glass cannon, and I absolutely agree. I saw the most success really kind of almost sniping a bit in this ship and really putting pressure out from long range, because with the massive main battery of 410 millimeters, you're the biggest caliber at tier 6. You outdo the Warspite actually, and you absolutely punish everything. You get almost full pens on even bow-in battleships. So pretty nasty. You're getting big, meaty hits, and you're just absolutely going to wreck everything. I was getting cruisers at cruiser citadels just from the overmatching at insane angles, and was just absolutely being able to just kind of wreck everything. Torpedo protection is pretty low at 24% compared to, let's say, the Fuso at 36%, and that's 24 because I run the module to give an extra 3%. So 21 just with the base if you don't run it. That's pretty low. Another reason to not really push in too close and be a brawler. But the main batteries, 410 millimeters, absolutely huge. Now, reload time of 35 seconds as of right now. Disclaimer, there are a few things that are going to be changed when it comes to this ship that Wargaming has talked about. They're going to talk about lowering the reload time from 35 seconds down to 30 seconds. That's really, really good. That's one of the downsides of the ship, is it does have a long reload, but it hits really, really hard. So this is kind of the trade-off. They're going to lower it to 30 seconds. So it's going to be crazy good. You're going to be right there with almost all the tier 6 battleships, really. They're pumping out. They're going to make the turrets turn a little bit faster, which is nice too. And I think they're going to change the rudder speed a little bit to make it a bit more maneuverable. It's not that maneuverable of a ship. But all in all, the couple with turret rotation increase and with the main battery reload time, it's going to definitely make it a much more of a stronger ship. Main battery range of 20.4 kilometers. That puts it right up there with, I think, one of the longest, maybe just being outdone by the Fuso. So really, really solid at tier 6. It does have torpedoes, though. If you can see, the secondaries are okay. A lot of AP secondaries, so it's kind of mediocre. I kind of ran a pseudo, I ran my Yamato captain with this when I was playing it, and which is kind of set up for AFT and secondary, a little bit of a build. You just don't get that much range, I think, with AFT or just out to 5 kilometers, but they're not really the super fun secondaries that you want, which light everything on fighter. The majority of them are going to be AP. So let's say if you do run against like a destroyer or something like that, you will get some extra damage. They're not worthless by any means, but they just aren't that fire-causing secondaries that a lot of us are used to with the German battleships right now. But anyways, you do have torpedoes. If you looked really close right there, you have 2 torpedoes on each side. Now, just 2, you might say, well, that's nothing too big, but they're 2 single torps. So if you ever played, you know, one of the low tier German destroyers, or if you even played one of the tugboat bathtub event, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But the single torps and the reload time is insanely quick, 21 seconds. So 7 kilometers as well, so the longest torps for any kind of battleship, but 7 or 21 second reload. So that was really, really nice. I actually got a couple hits in this against like a Cleveland, I think it was, and I was able to really kind of put out some extra pressure. A lot of people didn't realize this ship had torps. I think even the first game I played, I didn't even realize it had torps until about halfway through the match. And it's kind of an extra cool weapon, especially if you do find yourself into a brawling situation where you are going to be at a disadvantage with your lack of armor and slow turret rotation. But you do have that card up your sleeve. Also, you can maybe like shut down if you are kind of stationary in a certain spot and you have maybe a gap that needs a bit protected. You could throw some torps that way with the 7 kilometer range and maybe protect yourself in area denial. So extra little boost of a weapon right here. The damage is alright. If you hit both of them, you're going to do about 20, probably right around 20,000 damage. 57 knots, but 7 kilometer range. Really actually kind of nice. Just being able, if you have to brawl, you have that trick up your sleeve. AA defense was pretty mediocre. I was shooting down a couple planes, 6 kilometer range. You start getting some damage out, but really, I wasn't shooting down a massive amount. Not a lot of battleships at tier 6 have really good AA, but this one was just pretty mediocre. You're a long ship anyway, so you're going to be pretty susceptible to taking some airstrikes, but almost every battleship is at tier 6 anyways. So AA was alright, nothing really to phone home about. Maneuverability, max speed 27.8 knots, and I believe that's with the flag as well. So that's moving. That's a pretty quick battleship, especially at tier 6. And then you look at something like the Fuso. Fuso's 24. I think the Arizona is near 22, somewhere around there. So all in all, not that bad. Turning radius, though, this thing kind of turns like a boat, no pun intended. 770 meters for your turning circle radius. Apparently they're going to change the rudder shift a little bit, so that will help that. And they're going to take it down about a second or so from the 11.8. So make it a bit more maneuverable. I didn't really have that much of a problem, but I could definitely see if you were in a more close range, close quarters combat, you're definitely going to get hit a bit more than, let's say, you would in a ship that can turn a bit quicker. Now concealment. This is kind of been the bane of the existence for a lot of the IJN battleships, and especially with the Fuso and also the Nagato. It's pretty high. This is with a concealment captain as well, my Yamato captain, and still 14.1 kilometers. That's pretty freaking high, and there's really only so much you can do. You're just a battleship that's going to get detected. So all in all, though, strengths of this ship are its guns. They hit super hard. I'm really excited for them to be increased. The reload time to be, I guess, decreased to 30 seconds. That'll be absolutely gnarly. You do have the torps if you need it. Downside, not very maneuverable, not a lot of armor. You're taking massive torpedo damage, mediocre AA. But when I was playing the ship, I had a lot of fun actually playing this ship. And people were asking me when they came into my stream, asking me, how is this ship? How are you? I heard it's bad. I don't think this ship is bad at all. I think at tier 6, you tend to look at these ships and you have to think of it as a tier 6 ship. A lot of people are playing tier 6s, and a lot of people think tier 6s are bad because of the ships they're playing against. And what I mean by that, and I talked about it a bit earlier, is you are playing against tier 7s, tier 8s almost constantly. I don't know what it's changed recently, but it seems like tier 5 and tier 6, which used to be amazing matchmaking, have now just been kind of, all of them are getting carried up. And luckily this one has big guns and has a long range. So I had fun playing this ship. Even when I played against tier 8s, I was really able to punish other battleships, really able to punish other cruisers. This thing for me was just seeking out citadels. It's relatively accurate, even at max range. And to be able to consistently pump out just long range damage, know the strength of your ship, and this is having long range guns that hit really, really, really hard, really meaty hits. So for me, I was destroying cruisers, and if you do get that miracle game where you are top tier, you're going to have a blast. You're going to be able to overmatch every cruiser. There was one game where a friend basically got broadside into me with this cruiser. I think it was with his Nuremberg or Königsberg, and I just absolutely blasted him. And it was just because you can overmatch his armor and just absolutely annihilate him, and he called the ship OP. And I wouldn't quite consider the ship OP. I would consider the ship actually a decent ship for tier 6. I'm really excited to see, this is, I guess this is more of a preview than a review, because this is the final form. This is not the final form that the Mutsu will be in. It's going to be a little bit different of a ship. It's going to be more potent, which I think is going to make it a lot stronger and really change a lot of people's thoughts on it, because a lot of people don't think it's that good of a ship. You know, I think it's more of a tougher sell for some people because of the matchmaking of tier 6. Looking at this purely as a tier 6 ship, I think it's good. I had fun playing it. It's a ship I looked forward to playing. There's been some ships that came out recently that are, you know, you look at the ship and you go, I'm not excited to play that ship. A lot of German DDs. But for the Mutsu, I think this is a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a good ship. If it's a good value, I think it's good to pick up, especially at tier 6. Tier 6 has some great premium battleships. The Arizona, the Warspite. These are really fun ships to play, and I think the Mutsu is going to have its role and its job and its playstyle. Its playstyle is going to be a bit farther back, a bit longer of a stealth, not stealth firing, but a sniper class. And then, if you need to, you have those torps. But you just got to keep in mind, guys, the upside of this ship, the guns are insane, the range is insane, and you have some speed to really use them. And of course, the torpedoes. The downside is this thing can get absolutely racked. I took maybe 14,000 salvos when I was angled. It has really, really good firing angles, so you don't have to give too much of a broadside. But really, AA is kind of mediocre for its tier, but so is everything. Battleship-wise, the maneuverability is kind of mediocre. The torpedo protection is pretty mediocre, and the secondaries are kind of meh. But all in all, I think it's a strong ship for what it's capable of doing, which is absolutely beating you up from a long range. This thing is going to do an awesome job and a lot of fun to play. Well, I hope this review/preview helped you guys out for the new IJN Premium Battleship, the Mutsu. All in all, a fun ship. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Look forward to seeing it. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it performs after the changes. I really am. I think it's going to be a good ship. So that's it for me, though, guys. Hope you like this. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.